Growing up, I was under the impression that good people didn't get angry, that nice people didn't get angry, that if you were someone who was to be respected and someone who was to be revered and living a life worth living, you just didn't get angry. If there was an injustice that occurred, you tried to figure out a way to solve it civilly or to sit with your discontent. Now, this turned me into a bit of a people pleaser, but this never really served me well. I would please the people, and then that would kind of be it, because oftentimes when you don't feel angry, you don't feel passion of any kind. A lot of times you end up just almost being flat, like a background character in other people's stories. I've learned now that feeling self-righteous anger is not only justified, but necessary in living a life that is fulfilling to oneself and interesting to others. And self-righteous anger is the kind of anger that you feel when you see that an injustice has occurred, something where you see that someone has been hurt. You aren't going to just say, oh, that's fine if your dog gets kicked. You're going to get angry at that, and that is justified. And so you should feel that for yourself as well. When someone treats you badly, then you should get angry about it, because you should have the same kind of compassion that you have for yourself as you do for other people. So the quote that I've chosen, if you haven't guessed by now, is that it's better to be pissed off than pissed on, by Friedrich Nietzsche, if I'm pronouncing that right. And this is just a very personally insightful quote to me, because it's something that I've been learning for a very long time. But it's a lesson that history has been trying to teach us over and over again. One of the classic examples that you see in your history book of, historical event, something classic that happened, the French Revolution. Now, I think we all know the general story of when the general population of France rose up against the ruling class and beheaded them. These people had gotten to that boiling point, gotten to that breaking point where the inequality was just too much, where them starving, they're watching their kids starve, while Marie Antoinette and all of these other people sat up in their castles, and literally Marie Antoinette had a whole village, a whole fake village, just to play with, that she filled with people that she paid, while people were literally starving. That's how wide this gap of inequality was. And these people decided that that's it. We are tired of being literally pissed on by the rich. And texts. And so at this point, they rose up and they really exemplified this quote. Now, another historical event that exemplifies this quote is the civil rights era for Black Americans. Now, growing up in this country, you are hopefully educated on all of the different ways that Black Americans have been treated horribly in the past, from slavery to lynchings to not being able to vote to segregation. These are all examples of Black Americans getting essentially stomped on. And it took a while, obviously, for movements to get started, but we have seen many waves of revolutions over and over again that really exemplify the idea that people oftentimes aren't just going to take abuse sitting down. Even if it means risking their life, their livelihood, their families, at a certain point, One just has to say, that's it, I'm done, and I'm taking a stand. A third example of this has to be with women's rights, another civil rights issue, but one that also is extremely important and exemplifies this idea of just getting fed up and tired of mistreatment, and taking that righteous anger and using it to fuel a revolution that changes the way that things actually are. So it is truly better to be pissed off than pissed on. And you can see that over and over again in history, that eventually people will get tired of being mistreated. Thank you. Oh my goodness.